Police searched the building. No signs of forced entry, no witnesses, nothing. Again, always nothing. My name is Avery Collins, and for most of my adult life, strangers felt harmless. When you make a living online, strangers become numbers, followers, views, comments, likes. Most of them aren't real people anymore. They're profile pictures and usernames scrolling past at a speed too fast to process. At least that's what I thought. I was 27 years old and had built a social media following of nearly 3 million people. Travel videos, lifestyle content, product reviews, nothing controversial, nothing that should have attracted dangerous attention. My audience was mostly kind, supportive, normal. But all it takes is one person who starts seeing you as something else. The first email arrived on a Tuesday. Subject line: I found you. Spam messages weren't unusual. The body contained only a single sentence. You look happier when you're pretending. No signature, no threats, no explanation, just that sentence. It unsettled me, but not enough to worry about. I deleted it. A few hours later, another one appeared. Subject line: I miss you. The message read, I wish you would post more, like you used to. That made me pause. Someone trying to be creepy, nothing more. I blocked the address. The next morning, another message arrived from a different account. Good morning, Avery. I wish you would post more. I blocked that one too. Then another appeared, and another, every day, always from new addresses, always short, always strangely personal. You look tired during yesterday's live stream. Blue is your best color. That last one bothered me most. I had worn blue that day, but I hadn't posted any photos, no videos, nothing, meaning he'd seen me somewhere. The thought stayed with me all night. 2 weeks later, I received my first text. Unknown number. It wasn't unusual to get calls and texts from companies that wanted to sponsor one of my videos, but this one was different. The message contained only a pelican emoji. I stared at it. Then another text appeared. You still love pelicans? My stomach dropped. Years earlier, I'd made a video talking about my childhood vacations in Florida. I'd mentioned how pelicans reminded me of happier times before my parents divorced. It wasn't exactly private information. The video had millions of views. Still, seeing it referenced directly felt invasive. I didn't reply. A few seconds later, another message arrived. I remember everything you tell me. I blocked the number. It didn't help. The texts started again within 48 hours. Different number, same tone, same obsession. I contacted my management team. They told me to document everything, so I did. Screenshots, emails, texts, dates and times. A growing folder filled with evidence that nobody seemed capable of acting on. The messages weren't threatening, not directly, just unsettling. Police couldn't do much, so life continued, or at least I tried to pretend it did. Then came InfluencerCon, a massive weekend event in Chicago featuring content creators from every platform imaginable. Thousands of fans, meet and greets, panels, photos, merchandise. The kind of event where security usually made me feel safe. I couldn't have been more wrong. Lines for autograph sessions stretched around the convention hall. Hundreds of smiling faces, teenagers, parents, couples, the usual crowd. About halfway through my session, I noticed him. Tall, mid-30s maybe, dark hair, a calm smile, nothing remarkable. Yet something about him felt off. He stood perfectly still, while everyone else shifted impatiently in line, watching me. not looking at his phone, not talking, just watching. When he finally reached my table, he slid a photograph toward me. It was one of my travel photos, a beach at sunset. I smiled automatically. Who should I make it out to? His eyes brightened. Ellie. She's my pet pelican. I laughed politely. A pet pelican? He nodded. Yep. He leaned closer. You said pelicans were your favorite animal. I forced a smile. Oh, right. They remind you of vacations with your parents. My pen stopped moving. The words were identical to the texts, exactly identical. He noticed my expression. I pay attention, he said. Security stood only 20 feet away. People surrounded us. Yet suddenly I felt very alone. I signed the photo. He took it carefully, like it was something sacred. Then he smiled. I can't wait to see you again, and walked away. The rest of the session blurred together. I kept searching the crowd, looking for him, but he never returned. That night I barely slept. I told myself I was overreacting. Thousands of followers knew personal details about me. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe. 3 days later, a package appeared outside my apartment. No return address. Inside sat a stuffed pelican. Its wings were wrapped around a framed photograph, a picture of me entering my apartment building. Taken from across the street. Taped to the back was a handwritten note, almost home. I called the police. They took a report, asked questions, collected evidence, then left. Nothing happened, no suspect, no arrest, no answers. A week later, another gift arrived. This time it was a snow globe. Inside the globe stood a miniature apartment building. Another note accompanied it. I love where we live. I installed additional security cameras immediately, changed my locks, bought pepper spray, started checking over my shoulder constantly. Every hallway felt dangerous. Every stranger seemed suspicious. Sleep became impossible. Then I started seeing him, or at least I thought I did. A glimpse inside a grocery store. A reflection in a restaurant window. Someone standing beside a gas station pump. Always gone when I looked twice. Always disappearing into crowds. My friends told me it was stress, anxiety, paranoia. Not long after is when the photographs arrived. Someone slipped an envelope beneath my apartment door. Inside were dozens of pictures. Me walking my dog, carrying groceries, unlocking my car, weeks of surveillance. The final photograph froze my blood. It showed me sleeping through my bedroom window. I lived on the 3rd floor. I remember staring at that image, unable to breathe, unable to think. That night I stayed at a friend's house. The following morning, another email arrived. You weren't home last night. I screamed, actually screamed. The police escalated the case after that. Detectives became involved. They examined everything. Unfortunately, nothing led anywhere. Fake accounts, burner phones, no useful footage. They called him the Pelican, and he remained a ghost. Weeks passed, then months. The messages continued, never openly threatening. That somehow made it worse. There is no rage, no hatred, just certainty. The certainty of someone who believed we belonged together, the certainty of obsession. One rainy evening, I returned home after recording a sponsorship video. Something sat in the center of my living room floor. A package. I knew immediately someone had been inside my apartment. My hands trembled as I approached. The box contained a wedding invitation, cream-colored paper, elegant lettering. My heart hammered. The names printed across the front read, Avery and the Pelican. I dropped it. Inside was another note. Soon. I didn't stay in that apartment another second. I ran. literally ran. Police searched the building. No signs of forced entry, no witnesses, nothing. Again, always nothing. I moved into a secured condo downtown. Private parking, doorman, security desk, restricted access. For the first time in months, I felt safe. The messages stopped. No emails, no texts, no gifts, nothing. 3 months passed. Slowly, I began believing it was over. Maybe he'd lost interest. Maybe he'd moved on. Maybe the nightmare had finally ended. I was wrong. One evening, I attended a charity gala hosted by several creators, hundreds of guests, music, champagne, bright lights. I remember laughing with another influencer when I noticed someone standing near the back wall, watching. My stomach dropped instantly. The Pelican. He smiled. The same calm smile from the convention. I pushed through the crowd, yelling for security, determined not to let him disappear. Not this time. But by the time I reached the wall, he was gone. Security reviewed footage. They saw him for 3 seconds. Then he stepped into a blind spot and vanished, like smoke, like he knew the building. That night I received an email, the first in months. "You looked beautiful." I broke down crying. The realization hit me all at once. This wasn't ending. There wasn't going to be a magical solution, no dramatic arrest, no confession, no neat conclusion. People like him existed in the shadows, patient, persistent, invisible. Eventually, detectives traced one of the emails to a public library computer nearly 200 miles away. The trail ended there. The Pelican disappeared again. A year passed. The gifts stopped. The messages stopped. Everything stopped. I rebuilt my life. Therapy helped. Time helped. The fear slowly dulled. Not vanished, just dulled. Then yesterday, a plain white envelope arrived. No return address. My hands shook before I even opened it. Inside was a postcard, a picture of a pelican with a corny saying, "Be a pel I can, not a pel I can't." Written across the back were 6 words, "Forever is longer than you think." So now I know. The Pelican is still out there, watching, waiting.